Welcome, guys, to this week's edition of the FNN Politics and Power Series. And again, we're focusing on the power side of things. So right now we are here with Belinda Ortiz Kirkegard, who is the head of the National Entrepreneur Center here in Orlando. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time. I know today has been hectic. So
it has, and I've hit the ground running. Today's day number 22 on the job. So obviously a lot of folks that I need to connect with, partnership-wise, investor-wise, but I'm enjoying it. So
absolutely. So diving right in, obviously day 22, talk a little bit about that transition that you've been experiencing, obviously coming from your experience that you've had in Kissimmee and kind of working with the business community in Kissimmee and Osceola County. Kind of talk about transitioning into the NEC role. How has that been for you?
So it's not as hard as most people think. So in the economic development world, so prior to this, I was the economic development director for the city of Kissimmee for 13 years, and I was actually tasked with creating the office and the program evolved over time. But when I started my career professionally, I went to UCF. My first job was that as an intern for what was then called chairman of Orange County. It has since changed. Right. It's now mayor. Right. So I worked for Mayor Linda Chapin, and that was my internship. And then I was unemployed for all of a weekend and went to go work for County Commissioner Mary Johnson, who was a mentor, and she passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. But much of what both these women did were spearheading activities that engaged our small business community and started much of the diversity and inclusionary type of programming with the small business community. So for example, the organization back then, it was called the Hispanic Business Initiative Fund. It's now called Prospera, where they offer bilingual small business assistance and tech support. So very early on in my career, almost day one of my career, I was exposed to not only amazing leadership, but to small business cultivation. And so I would say about 90% of my career has been tied to growing business, involved in economic development, one form or another. So transitioning here, it was such a natural fit based on not only my experience in this wheelhouse, but just the relationships that I had built on a regional scale. So I thought it just seemed like that perfect fit, but I'm also biased.
And that's okay. That's good. That's good. And kind of talk about obviously we're here at the National Entrepreneur Center, guys. It's the 20th anniversary. Kind of talk about that.
It is. It's a wonderful facility as well. So here at the center, we're a one-stop shop for all business needs, I like to say. And if it's not found here, we know the partners that could render the assistance to the business. But yeah, so in this ecosystem, we provide the business technical support services. There's a microloan, a partner that provides microloans. There's assistance for nonprofits from the business side, which is pretty unique because that's an area that not very many resources exist to support. Right. So a lot of really wonderful assistance that's here. So I'm coming in on the 20th anniversary where they've coached, it's almost 300,000 entrepreneurs, whether it's training them or coaching them over the last 20 years. So an incredible facility, and with the departure of the last CEO, Jerry Ross, who was here for 20 years and took this organization to what it is today, now it's the 20th anniversary, what's next? And that's, what we're calling the evolution of the organization. So as I come on, there's what I'm calling my 4 pillars for the NEC. And the first one is growing the investors. We want to make sure that we are sustainable with all the different service lines that we offer. The other thing is growing our partnerships. So there's a myriad of other business support or agencies that exist, and so we want to bring them, to be affiliated or here on site, if that makes sense. So growing partnerships is another priority. We have the Central Florida International Trade Office, Chris Leggett that runs it, who provides wonderful, wonderful educational content for those interested in exporting product or those companies that want to come in and import their products. So an amazing service line that we have that I'd like to see grow and link potentially closer with consulate offices and such.
Yes.
And that kind of leads me to the fourth pillar, which is the facility. So we have about 3.5 years left here at Fashion Square Mall, and we've got many of our partners that are busting at the seams, that need more space. There's the technology side that we want to evolve as well, and I'll use the example with seminars. Oftentimes agencies want to do hybrid versions where they have people in the classroom and then being able to do it online. Well, there's no efficient way to do it right now because you have to unless you have a dedicated person on the computer shouting the questions from the audience online. So that type of technology is what we're looking at in investing for the next facility. So we're exploring all our options at this time, but it's an exciting piece, and it's growing. And again, as I talked about, bringing in more partners, what does that look like for this new facility? So those are my 4 pillars, and day, again, 22. It's exciting, and I'm having a good time just hitting the ground and running. I've not stopped.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to there's more to this conversation. Make sure you stay tuned. We're going to take a brief commercial break and be right back.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Welcome back, guys, to this week's edition of the FNN Politics and Power Series. We are here with Belinda Ortiz Kirkegard, the head of the NEC here, the National Entrepreneur Center here in Orlando. So you mentioned something very important in the last segment. I want to make sure that nobody that was watching missed it. You mentioned that you began as an intern for Mayor Linda Chapin, or at the time, Orange County Chairman Linda Chapin. That's women's history, technically.
Yes.
Because she was the first, now we use the word mayor, but she was the first mayor of Orange County. She was the first woman chairperson for Orange County. So wanted to kind of transition into Women's History Month. So kind of talk about what that means to you personally and the event that's coming up.
So this one, I'm going to get goosebumps, and I'm hoping I can do it without crying. So Mayor Chapin was an incredible leader. Definitely broke through a number of glass ceilings for women just across the grid here in Central Florida, to include serving as chairman for the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority. Also, having served on that board, the first Hispanic female to serve on that board was Orange County Commissioner Mary Johnson, who I worked for and was my mentor. So about 1.5 years ago, Governor DeSantis appointed me to that board.
Wow.
And so I went from being an administrative aide that briefed a county commissioner on different topics, to include aviation items that she was seeing during those board meetings, to now serving on that board.
Wow.
And so for me professionally, it felt full circle. And again, don't want to cry. But yeah, so it's because these remarkable women broke through ceilings. Another woman that I recently had the opportunity to have lunch with was Orange County Commissioner Mabel Butler, who also, she's such a spitfire still till today. And in my role there at the airport, one of the things that I've been a champion of is small business engagement. The airport has millions and millions of dollars worth of contracts, and so it's important that as we grow, our community, that we keep the dollars contractually here as best as possible. So that's something that, if you watch any GOA board meeting, they all know that small business participation is something that's very important to me, because, again, it's growing our local economy and growing jobs and here in our community. So and all of that were these 3 remarkable women that were trailblazers, in 80s, 70s, 80s, that I like to think, I'm making them feel proud. So.
Awesome. And talk a little bit about the event that's coming up here at the NEC in March, the Women's History Day.
Yeah, so I know we're partnering with WeBack to have this incredible educational session. Chris Leggett, who is our manager of the Central Florida International Trade Office, that's a mouthful, will be a part of that. But yes, I encourage folks to participate, and you'll find information not only on our website, but also on all our social media.
Absolutely. And I mean, guys, make sure that you stay tuned here at Florida National News. We'll always have that information available for you guys. And, you know, Belinda, please, the floor is yours if there's any other important information you want to share with our audience.
So I would say this, anyone that's ever had an inkling of wanting to start their own business, whether it's, you know, full-on company or it's just a side hustle that you're looking to explore, please look up the National Entrepreneur Center. We've got free resources. We have government partners that provide the funds to all these agencies, our partners, to provide these services for free. And it's important. If it's something you're interested in, please explore it. If you look at the last 25 years, 2 out of every 3 jobs created in this country within the United States, 2 out of every 3 were created by a small business. So that could be you. So please look into the resources available. They're free and they're designed to help you so that when you're launching your company, you're doing it on a successful track and not just headfirst into a pool of unknown. So please look us up.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's edition of the FNN Politics and Power Series. Belinda, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.